What could happen if we decided to slow down? If we took breaks to check in with ourselves and intentionally added moments of stillness and relaxation into our days? We all know the feeling of being busy and rushing from one thing to the next, only to feel like the day passed us by and we wonder where the time went. And we want to be as productive as possible, get things done. We set high expectations of ourselves and our bodies and our lives, and we feel like we have wasted our day if we don't meet these expectations. If we want to be happy and healthy, slow living can be the place to start. Through slowing down, we can learn to reconnect with ourselves, tend to our needs, and stop missing out on all the small and wonderful joys of life. Happy New Year, my friend. I'm glad you're here again. In today's video, I'm going to share 8 easy tips for a slow living lifestyle. And it is a new year, which means that it's the perfect chance to start fresh, make some changes, take some time to reflect. And if you are interested in boosting your well-being through slow living, then you're gonna find a lot of inspiration here. And as always, feel free to pick and choose the ones that work for you. And I'm really excited because I actually have a huge announcement that I wanna share with you. And I'm gonna do that later in the video, so stay tuned. For me, one of the most life-changing things that I have started implementing into my days is to do a regular check-in with myself. When we feel stressed or we're hard at work or on the go, or even in a state of flow of deep focus, it is so easy to forget to check in with ourselves and how we're feeling and what we need. We might not notice we have been sitting in an uncomfortable position, or we're hungry or thirsty or in need of a short break. Slow living has helped me to reconnect with myself, check in regularly to avoid feeling exhausted at the end of the day. If you're not in the habit of doing this, you could try and set an alarm for yourself to remind you. This is what I used to do as well in the beginning. And whenever I want to do one of those check-ins, I quickly ask myself, how am I feeling physically? How am I feeling mentally? And how am I feeling emotionally? This is so simple but so effective. And if I notice that I need something, I try to make sure to give that to myself immediately. Or if that is not possible, I try to do it as soon as possible and tend to that need. The second easy tip for slow living that also works really well for beginners is to always try and make sure that you have an information-free moment when you wake up. When we wake up to a new day in the morning, we have an opportunity to start fresh and reset. And we get to try and set ourselves up right for the day because we don't have all the information of the day yet. So this only works though if you take a short moment after waking up, if only for 15 minutes, without putting anything, any information, any external stimuli into your mind. So yes, I'm going to say it, get in the habit of leaving your phone be first thing in the morning. Even if it is really hard for you, try to not check the news, don't check your messages, if only for a little while, because it can be so nice to just let your brain wake up slowly without immediately starting to cram all kinds of things and information in there. I actually learned the hard way myself, and I burned out when I was 28 years old. And I remember always being in a state of constant rushing and being busy, yet I still felt like I wasn't doing enough. And even just taking a short moment to sit on the couch and do nothing felt like a huge waste of time to me. And all the things that I felt I needed to do took priority over what I needed myself. However, through slow living, I learned to reconnect with myself again and listen to my body in a more instinctual way. And I learned that if I want to feel happy and healthy, I needed to stop tying my self-worth to my productivity. We don't need to glorify being busy and associated with success, because this habit can be dangerous for our mental and emotional well-being. We are not just worth something if we are being super productive and getting all kinds of things done. Of course, it is great to be productive, but we also need moments of rest and recovery and stillness, and we don't always have to be on all the time. In my opinion, slow living is not being lazy, because if we don't take the time to enjoy our days now, then When will we ever? We have 5 more slow living tips coming up, but first I have something that I really want to share with you because today is a very exciting day. I have mentioned on the channel a few times that I was working on a slow living online course and it is now finished. And it's called Unhurried, the 30-day slow living program, and it is available for signing up. So if you are wanting to start your new year in a new way, hit the reset button and kind of give yourself the opportunity to incorporate more slow living into your life, more intentionality, more mindfulness, then this could be the perfect start. Unhurried is a 30-day online course where every day you will get an email from me with that day's new lesson and an inspiring challenge that can help you to apply the tools of slow living directly into your everyday life. And these challenges are always short and sweet and realistic to fit into a busy lifestyle. And you will also get a poster with an overview of all the lessons that you can print and keep visible. Purchasing this course will also give you lifetime access to the materials, which means that you can repeat the program as many times as you want, as well as take your time. If you don't always have time, you can take longer than 30 days to complete it, so you decide your own pace. During these 30 days, you will learn many things, like making time for yourself without feeling guilty, getting a healthier relationship with your phone, checking in with yourself to avoid feeling exhausted by the end of the day, being more mindful and intentional with how you spend your time and your energy, and you will learn to create space to pause and unplug and take care of yourself in a way that fits your lifestyle. I have been working on this course behind the scenes and I'm just so excited with how it turned out and that I get to share this with you at the start of a new year, because I feel like this is the perfect time to invest in our happiness, boost our well-being, and just make some changes to how we spend our days. To celebrate that it's finished, I created a 10% discount code for anyone who enrolls in the course before January 18th. And I wanted to give people a chance to get it at 10% off because I know a lot of you have been here for so long and you've always supported me by watching my videos. So the link to Unhurried is in the description box, as well as a 10% discount code. So thanks so much for supporting me, and it is things like this that make it possible for me to keep doing this, to keep making these free weekly videos for everyone here, and I just really appreciate it. And I'm just really excited because it is one of the best things that I've ever created. I know that it is full of value and that it can really help a lot of people. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down below, and let's get back to our next slow living tip. In today's busy world, we are often doing multiple things at the same time, and it has become so normal for us that we don't even really notice it anymore. So listening to a podcast while driving or scrolling on your phone while watching a movie, etc. And yes, sometimes multitasking can feel effective and efficient, but at the same time, our brain is not wired to focus on multiple things at once. And at the end of the day, we feel exhausted and our mind feels scattered and our attention span is getting smaller and smaller. It's like our mind has too many tabs open. So try to take one thing each day to single task. Practice feeling good just doing one thing at a time and really focusing on that. And I have learned that we don't need infinite amounts of free time to practice slow living. Of course, having time helps, but it's also about how intentional and mindful we are with the time that we do have. And making small changes can already make us feel better. Even taking a small activity like brushing our teeth without also doing something else can already help. When I was a kid, I used to play The Sims, and I would take a few people, I would put them in a tiny house, and then slowly but surely started to save up money to build them a bigger and better house, and it was a lot of fun. Until one day, a friend of mine showed me a cheat that you can do to immediately give yourself an infinite amount of money at the start of a new game. And at first I thought, wow, that is so cool. Now I can just skip over all the saving and immediately buy them a huge mansion. But I soon found out that this cheat totally killed my game and there was no joy at all anymore, because what made the game fun was not the end result, it was the process. Maybe a silly example, but I actually still think about this sometimes, because one of the best things about working on our goals is not necessarily the end result, but the process. And whenever I feel myself getting impatient or too result-oriented, I try to remind myself to take my time, practice patience, and just allow myself to enjoy the process. Focusing entirely on the end goal is called destination living, and when we live like this, we are much more likely to miss out on all the wonderful and simple joys along the way. We all have a distraction living in our pockets. There is unlimited amounts of information ready at our fingertips, and this can make it especially hard to slow down and live in the present moment. We receive more information on a daily basis than a person did in the year 1900 in a lifetime, but our brains are actually still the same, so it is very understandable that we feel maxed out sometimes, and this makes it even more important to at least practice being able to sit with ourselves in silence, if only for a few minutes. So let me ask you a question then. Do you still feel in control of your phone, or is it more the other way around? Of course, we're not going to get rid of our phone, but there is a middle ground, one where we can actually use our phone to make our lives better instead of detracting from it. So if you recognize this, be sure to set some boundaries for yourself in very concrete ways to help yourself get a healthier relationship with your phone and with technology. Slow living tip for beginners number 7 is to create one silent, lovely moment for yourself each day. And if you are very busy, just do it for 1 minute, that's fine. But do something for yourself that makes you feel nurtured, comforted, or simply just a little bit calmer, and just take a short moment to turn off the noise and slow down. Maybe drink a hot beverage, or just stand near a window and stare out and let your mind wander, or even listen to a song that you used to love. I know that this is difficult for many of us, and we're afraid that if we stop hustling and being busy for a second and just sit with ourselves in silence, that we might even start to question what we are so busy doing, if that is even worth it. But these small, quiet moments can be so valuable, and they can help us to enjoy life's little details more. These small moments are a chance to reconnect with ourselves, get centered, and feel ready for the rest of the day. The last slow living for beginners tip that I want to share with you today is to occasionally switch things up and re-examine your routines. Slow living is not about doing everything very slowly or doing less in general. It is more like a mindset shift that enables us to experience things differently, more mindfully, more aware, more present, and more deeply also. And we can use these things to re-examine our routines and activities. Maybe you find that your morning or evening routine could use some work, or maybe you just want to switch things up and do things differently and get out of that repetition and out of that rut. Or maybe you just want to learn something new, something that you really enjoy, because I think as adults we can place more emphasis on learning new things because it helps to keep things fresh. For example, lately I have been learning more about coffee, and I have been practicing some barista skills. I'm not ready to show you my latte art yet, but I'm having a lot of fun with it because it is something new, it's a new impulse, and I really need that now that I spend all my days at home. If you want to start your new year more slowly and intentionally and get some practical guidance as well, then be sure to check out my new course, Unhurried, the 30-day slow living program. Again, a link is in the description box, as well as a 10% discount code if you sign up before January 18th. And if you have any questions about this, feel free to leave them in the comments. Click here for 20 self-care ideas for stress. Click there for a video about how to reduce stress in your everyday life. As always, questions, comments, conversations down below. Have a lovely day, and I'll be back soon with a new video, so I hope to see you there. Bye bye!